Yeah, is it Gen X?
Juice, we're recording.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, you were correct.
Gen X. We were talking about generations. We'll get into that in just a second. But I know you're tired this morning.
I am.
You were up all night.
I was.
Because you watched the Super Bowl.
No, I did not.
You're not a sports guy, are you?
Why do you do this to me? You know I hate sports.
Especially pros, right?
Especially pros.
Overpaid whiners.
Yes. They get paid so much, and they're just, I don't know.
I like football, so it was kind of like my last football game, before fall.
I'll watch bare knuckle fighting championships.
What about UFC?
I used to watch UFC, but, with Tank Murdoch and all that. But that was before they got stuck wearing gloves and stuff.
Now they got weight classes. And all that stuff. That's crazy. They didn't have weight classes back in the day.
They didn't. You could fight anybody bare knuckle. It was awesome.
And Gracie just ruined people's hopes and dreams in there. And he's a little guy.
So,
with grappling. They're like, what is this new thing? It wasn't new, but they're like, what is this thing he's beating everybody with? And but it wasn't new, but they'd taken jiu-jitsu and perfected it into
that whole family
a street style that you can win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but jiu-jitsu's been around forever, I think. Grappling. They just perfected it, I guess. Yeah. Modernized it, I guess you'd say. But anyway, I did watch it. Now, I've been called boomer, all this stuff, because I didn't want to watch the Super Bowl halftime show.
I didn't want to watch the Super Bowl.
I know. You're really a boomer.
Yeah, I really don't. I'm not doing it.
I don't care if it's Bad Bunny or who. I don't know who that guy is.
I've seen him. I've heard of him. I've never heard any of his music.
If that's your style, great. Watch it. But I flipped over and watched Turning Points. It was good. Country music and Kid Rock and stuff.
Yeah. I heard that was pretty good.
Yeah. Kid Rock put a show on. He's good. Yeah. He's a performer. He knows
Brantley
other people.
Gilbert.
Yeah. The girl was good. I can't remember her name.
Gabby
something.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they are, but when they sang the songs, I'm like, I've heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
You get it. I'm not in on the new age music.
Yeah, neither am I.
I don't listen. I rarely listen to music. So
no, I listen to music, but it's got to be like I'm turning into my dad. Old classic country, Charlie Pride, Waylon Jennings. But I'll listen to Ozzy, of course.
Sure.
Black Sabbath, Dio, Rainbow, Nazareth, all the good stuff.
We had 38 Special on the other day.
Oh yeah,
they're good.
38 Special.
Why don't they get? I know I'm getting called a boomer again. Why don't they get one of these old timers to do a halftime like Aerosmith or 38 Special or something? Bring them out of retirement.
That was the last concert I seen was 38 Special.
Yeah.
They were out at Pendleton when I was stationed there.
Nice. I don't know when the last non-Christian concert I've been to. I don't know. I can't remember. So.
Yeah, they should because this new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just
yeah, but Gen Z, Boomer, Gen X, we're Gen Xers. Getting old or angry a lot. But boomers are our dads, born after World War II. So, and they went up to Vietnam. Was your dad in Vietnam?
Yeah, he's a Vietnam.
My dad's a Vietnam guy. So it was the Vietnam. There was their war, right?
Yeah.
Some of the Korean and Vietnam guys. So, but yeah, I'm not a boomer.
Yeah. I have a sister that's a boomer. I tease her all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
She's Does she act like a boomer?
I say, geez, she's only 60.
Oh, okay.
60. What is she?
Is she the mean one?
60. Oh, yeah. The one who used to beat the crap out of me.
Yeah. Did you have one that went to jail or something, though? So.
No. No.
How many sisters do you have?
I have 3 sisters.
Oh, nice. That's why you're so angry.
Well, I've got 2 sisters, and I got one crazy narcissist that.
That's the one I was thinking
sister.
of.
Yeah, that's who you're thinking of.
Right.
That idiot.
Is that the baby?
No, she's the next oldest one from me.
Who's
my
the baby
sister? She's a school teacher.
Mm-hmm. Professional.
She's awesome.
Got children and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, no, she doesn't have any kids. She's a cat and dog person.
Nice.
And then I've got my older sister who's the boomer.
Okay.
Yeah. I tell her you don't look half bad for 90.
Does she still try to boss y'all around and stuff?
My big sister?
Yeah.
No, not really. Yeah. But you could see back in the day, she was tough. Mm-hmm. She still is. She still got the attitude.
She didn't put up with it, did she?
No, and she'll throw down right now in a parking lot. She don't care.
Where does she live?
Florida, Lake City, Florida.
Where does your young sister live?
Pennsylvania.
She's still up there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Yeah. I don't have any. I'm the only child. Juice.
Yes.
People said they can tell it.
Yes.
I don't know how.
It's the debonair good looks.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the hair.
The handsome, rugged good looks.
The hair is what it is. So, yeah, I don't have any brothers and sisters, but anyway, we're Gen X. We're not boomers.
No.
We have our preferences in music. I'm not opposed to the Super Bowl halftime. If that's your style, get in it. But that's not my style. So
yeah, I'm opposed to crap music.
Crap music.
Yeah. I want to hear good music.
Is that what you call rap music too?
Yeah. I don't like any of that stuff.
Anyway, that's just our preferences. But yeah, call us old. I don't care.
Yeah, so. I'm good with it. But they all got to get up there. And you've seen Ricky Gervais at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Get your little award.
Go sit down.
Thank your whatever, and then go.
Go sit down.
That's how I feel with all these people, these celebrities, these musicians. Everybody wants to make their political statement. I don't want to hear that. Come up, sing, say whatever you're going to say in your music or your speech. Don't make it political, and then shut up and walk off.
Who was the girl at the Grammys the other day said that we were on stolen land? I forgot her name.
Billie Eilish.
And then
I'm not sure she found out her mansion is on stolen Native American land.
Her $8 million mansion?
Yeah.
They don't know their history very well.
No, they don't.
They need to get a Thomas Sowell book, The Economist, and go get into the American Indian history, how this all went down.
This generation to me is the most uneducated generation when it comes to knowing their history.
They have no excuse either. It's at their fingertips.
Yes. Google it.
Grok or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Before you run that soup cooler, do the research.
Yeah. I get bad mouth a lot because I say we want it fair and square.
Well, we did.
Yeah.
Every land everywhere has been conquered by somebody.
Right. And the Indians used to conquer from each other.
Yes.
Slaughter each other.
Yes.
Enslave one another.
Exactly.
All the things that
humans are the worst of the worst.
Right. Yeah.
The animals don't do that stuff. Only humans do it.
They just eat each other. So. Yeah. We don't eat. Well, most of us don't eat each other.
Well, there are Dahmers and stuff that have finger sandwiches,
like one or two.
Stuff.
Yeah. Finger sandwiches. Yeah. We're getting into some pretty evil people today.
We are
talking about military people on death row.
Yes,
there's currently 4. All right. Now, don't confuse it with federal. There's like 200 on federal death row, but this is like military dudes that committed crimes, whether in the military, vicious crimes.
Yes.
And there's a serial killer, and there's somebody that's killed over infidelity, and then there's one that killed over, what was the other one? The Eastburn family murders. So we'll get into that as well. So let's talk about Mr. Ronald Gray, American serial killer and rapist. What do you think about that?
He's a stellar individual.
I've heard about this guy for a while. We've read about him in different things. He's at Fort Bragg now. No, he's not. He's in
Leavenworth. Right?
Leavenworth.
He's not in Lost in the Woods.
I've been in Lost in the Woods a lot, but
yeah,
it's not far from there.
No.
But he committed the crimes at Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, and then now he's on death row in Leavenworth.
Right.
He was first tried by a civilian court where he pled guilty and received 8 life terms. He made a deal, right? However, he was then tried and convicted by a military court and sentenced to death. George W. Bush authorized Gray's execution in 2008 following the Department of Justice review. Why is he still out? Why is he allowed?
I don't know. They should put an express lane in.
Right. Gray's execution would have been the first by U.S. military since 1961. However, on November 26, 2008, a federal judge issued a stay of execution stopping his planned December 10th execution. On January 26, 2012, the Army Court of Criminal Appeals denied relief in Gray's case. On November 13, 2017, the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces similar like burglary.
Right.
Similar.
See, you just said it.
Yeah. Like the Court of Criminal Appeals, they denied his appeal for extraordinary relief as well. So this guy's from Georgia. He went in the Army in 1984, and he was a target acquisition battery, field artillery guy.
Yep.
All right. During his court-martial, his mother, Lizzie Hurd, and sister testified that he had been abused by his stepfather as a child. Colonel David Armitage, the military forensic psychiatrist, also testified that Gray's early life he had experienced. He said fairly substantial socioeconomic deprivation, multiple male figures in his home, multiple physical moves, living in substandard poverty conditions, and circumstances where the electric lights were turned out by the electric company because bills were not paid. He had a stepfather at the time, at one time, who was extremely abusive to his mother and abusive to Gray, using belts on him to the point of inflicting injury and drawing blood.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, boo-hoo. My dad did it to me when I deserved it.
I got my tail whooped. And some of them weren't as deserved as others, I don't think.
I'll agree.
I think sometimes he was just tired.
Yeah.
and I pushed a button or whatever. You know what I mean? But anyway, but you get people come out of that same exact situation, poverty, who thrive, get PhDs, start companies, or millionaires, whatever. So I don't know if can you blame it on that?
I don't think so.
There's something that triggers them. We're going to talk about that. I mean, you always discuss it.
Yep.
On April 27, 1986, Gray murdered civilian Linda Jean Coach, age 23, a student at nearby Campbell University. That's just south of Fayetteville there. Mm-hmm. On December 11, 1986, Gray abducted, raped, and murdered a second civilian, Tammy Cofer Wilson. She was only 18. All right. On December 15, 1986, Gray abducted, raped, and sodomized and murdered Private Laura Lee Vickery Clay, age 18. She disappeared from Fort Bragg. 2 witnesses saw her at a local Kmart. This is a while back. With a man later identified as Gray. Vickery Clay's car was found the next morning a block from her home. It appeared to have been driven through the woods. The driver's seat was set farther back than necessary for the lady. 3 of Gray's fingerprints were found on the hood of the car. That helps, right?
Clues.
On January 17, 1987, a soldier discovered Vickery Clay's half-naked and decomposed body in the woods near Fort Bragg. She had been raped, sodomized, and shot in the neck, forehead, chest, and back. She had also suffered blunt force trauma to various parts of the body. The murder weapon, a .22 caliber pistol that Gray had stolen in November 1986, was found 60 feet from the victim's body. He threw the weapon down at the crime scene. Right? Yeah. Not the smartest guy. This is what got him caught. January 3rd, 1987, he raped and attempted to murder Private Marianne Lang, Namath, age 19. Gray entered her barracks room under the pretense of notification of a party that he did not want to leave on the barracks notification board, whatever that means. Once inside, Gray nabbed Namath, held a knife to her throat, and asked her for military field gear. Gray tied Namath's hands behind her, removed her underclothing, and raped her. Gray then stabbed her repeatedly in the neck and side of her body, threatening to return and kill her if she screamed. Namath suffered a lacerated trachea and collapsed lung, but she survived. When Gray's photograph appeared in the news following his arrest for another crime, Namath identified as her assailant. So there you go. He left one alive. So 3 days later, this is before he got picked up, I guess, he raped, sodomized, and robbed and murdered a third victim, Kimberly Ann Ruggles, age 23. Ruggles, a local cab driver, was dispatched to Gray's address to pick up a passenger named Ron. On the evening of January 6th and the early morning of January 7th, military police officers on a routine patrol discovered Ruggles' empty cab parked at the edge of the woods. Her nude body was discovered a short distance away. She had been stabbed 7 times as well as raped, sodomized, and beaten. Ruggles' mouth had been gagged with a cloth belt that matched a pair of black karate pants the other police officers found in Gray's possession hours earlier. Okay, so he did these two pretty close to each other.
Oh, yeah. Right?
Gray's fingerprints were in the interior door handle of Ruggles' taxi. Ruggles' fingerprints were found on money in Gray's possession. Gray's footprints were also found at the scene of the crime. Man. All right. That's April 1986 through January 1987. Wonder what triggered this guy.
There's something in there.
This article's not saying what it was. He pled guilty in Cumberland County. You know, he said, okay, I did it.
Oh, yeah.
The civilian courts. And got 2 counts of second-degree rape, murder, and 2 counts of first-degree burglary.
Oh,
look at that.
You're getting better.
And 5 counts of first-degree rape, 5 counts of first-degree sexual offense, and 1 count of attempted first-degree rape, 3 counts of second-degree kidnapping, and 2 counts of robbery with a dangerous weapon, and 1 count each of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and inflicted serious injury. Whew. Man. He was sentenced to 8 life sentences, including 3 to be served consecutively. So he pled guilty not to get the death sentence because North Carolina would kill him.
Right.
Military court also tried Gray. The general court martial lasted from December 1987 until April 1988. Man, that's a long one.
If you are employed or recently found yourself at the exit interview, I have a podcast for you. I'm Mark Carey, the host of the Employee Survival Guide, a podcast all about work and working. As a seasoned employment attorney, I will share with you information your employer definitely does not want you to know about and more. Stop getting screwed over by your employer. Get the tools of the legal trade fight and win against your employer. Listen to the Employee Survival Guide by clicking the link in the show notes. Enjoy and be well.
Oh, I'm sure they wanted to make sure they got every nail they could in that coffin.
Yep. It was composed of commissioned and enlisted officers at Fort Bragg. Gray was convicted of 12 charges, including the premeditated murders of Ruggles and Vickery Clay, the attempted premeditated murder of Lang Namath, 3 rapes, 2 robberies, and 2 counts of forcible sodomy. So they're going off the military code of military justice here.
Yep.
So sodomy is still a thing. But it is.
Yeah.
So you have forcible sodomy and just sodomy. So in the military, just sodomy is a crime still.
Yes, it is.
If somebody tells on you, I guess. Yeah. Now, forcible sodomy, you get into the rape thing. So,
but they did this because these are soldiers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know somebody's probably going to scream, "Oh, that's double jeopardy!" No, it isn't.
Yeah. One's federal, one's
that's right,
state or county, whatever.
That's right.
Yeah. On April 12, 1988, he was unanimously sentenced to death. In addition, he was dishonorably discharged, ordered to forfeit all of his pay and allowances, and reduced to the rank of Private E1. On January 29, 1988, the commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division approved the sentence. Gray was 22 at the time of the sentencing. He remains on death row at United States Disciplinary Barracks, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And it says he cannot be, as a military armed service forces member, Gray cannot be executed until the president approves a death sentence, which George Bush did. I just wonder why he's not dead yet.
I don't know.
Some federal judge got involved and stopped it. United States Army Corrections Command will be responsible for conducting the execution based on agreement with Federal Bureau of Prisons. Okay. But he's not dead yet.
No.
That's crazy, man.
He's just sitting there enjoying life.
All right. The Supreme Court denied it in 2018, and denied his appeal, so he's done.
Oh, yeah, he's finished at this point. But again, here you are looking 8 years later.
Taking up space.
Yeah.
This guy's evil, obviously.
Oh, yeah, he's sucking up air somebody else could be using.
He went on a tear there, man. So, and these people have family members. Some of them are young girls. Well, all of them are young.
Yeah,
I'm sure their mom and dad are like, why's this guy still sitting there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially their kids had just, like we did, just graduated, and that was the first thing. They went in the Army. They wanted to serve their country, and then this happens.
Or some of them went to college.
Yeah.
The same difference.
The first time some of them left home.
Yeah, and then they get killed. So in a violent, brutal manner. So I'm not sure why he's not. It doesn't say in the article why he's not dead yet.
Maybe they're looking for volunteers to carry out the execution.
You'll travel your own dime over to Kentucky.
I will. if anybody out there's from there listening, I'll even pay for the ammo.
So here's something they're doing. On December 31, 1991, a court granted at Gray's request and ordered a magnetic resonance imaging MRI, a scan of the brain, a 20-channel SCAP electrode sleep-deprived EEG, and a SPECT scan of his brain, as well as an intellectual, academic, and psychological and personality test. On February 18, 1992, a report based on these tests was completed by Captain Fred H. Brown, Jr., Ph.D., clinical psychologist from Womack Army Medical Center at Fort Bragg. Brown stated in an affidavit filed with the appellate court that Gray was sane during the offenses and proceedings. On March 19, 1992, counsel filed a petition for a new trial on newly discovered evidence of lack of mental responsibility. How, after this, your pro said that he's good?
Here's the thing. Why are we looking at his brain now? Why don't they execute him and then take his brain out and study it?
Right. Yeah.
Let's not prolong this. Let's go ahead and zap this guy and be done.
Right. I don't know. This guy's still sitting there taking up space. I'm not sure why.
Does the switch need to be fixed? I'll hire an electrician out of my pocket to go fix it.
So they still do lethal injection. I'm sure it has to do with this drug thing. You know, they had the issues with the drugs. But Alabama and some others just went to nitrogen narcosis.
Okay, well, take the firing squad.
South Carolina went to firing squad.
Yeah.
I think in the military, you can still hang them.
Yeah.
Hang the guy. I don't know, man. This guy's still walking around, but it's crazy to think that he did all that. And so this next guy we're talking about, Timothy Hennis, he's just as bad. So let's get into Hennis a little bit. Timothy Bailey Hennis, born February 24, 1958, grew up in Rochester, Minnesota. Minnesota's been on the news a lot.
They have.
He graduated from Mayo High School in 1976. His father, Robert Hennis, was a manager at IBM Rochester. Hennis worked in Rochester until he joined the United States Army in 1980. Hennis later married. He and his wife, Angela, and his daughter, and they had a daughter in 85. Around May 1985, Hennis worked as a parachute rigger at Fort Bragg. Rigger! Anyway, all right. So if you don't know what a rigger is the people that pack parachutes, repair parachutes, all those things. So usually a good bunch of people. I worked with them a lot. I was a parachutist. All right. This family he murders is called the Eastburn family. All right. It said since the Eastburn family was planning to relocate to England so that Eastburn could take up a liaison job with the Royal Air Force, Katie made arrangements to rehouse the family's English setter Dixie, their dog, posting an advertisement in the local newspaper, Beeline, Grab Bragg. It's probably like a trade and post newspaper back in the day, right? On May 7, 1985, 27-year-old U.S. Army Sergeant Timothy Hennis responded to the ad visiting the Eastburn family home. Here we go. Hennis young family owned a Spitz at the time. After chatting with Katie, Hennis took Dixie home. On May 11th, Katie did not respond to her husband Gary's routine phone call. On May 12th, a concerned neighbor named Bob Seafelt and a police officer visited a home where they discovered the remains of Katie, Kara, and Aaron. Katie had been stripped to the waist, raped, and stabbed 15 times. Semen was also found inside her body. Kara had been stabbed repeatedly in the chest, while Aaron had been bludgeoned in the chest and back. The youngest child, Jana, survived the attack, but was dehydrated and suffered from diarrhea. So she was hiding out. That's awful.
Yeah.
All right. You had the detectives from Cumberland County. They were in charge of the homicide investigation. While combing the house, investigators found fingerprints and hair. Luminol tests in the walls in the master bedroom indicated that somebody had tried unsuccessfully to clean up the crime scene. That's a big crime scene.
Huge.
After returning to Fayetteville, Gary Eastburn helped Biddle and Watts identify missing items. That's the husband that was not there, right? Including an envelope of cash, Katie's ATM card, and a piece of paper containing her ATM password. On the night of the investigation, a janitor named Patrick Cohn approached Biddle and Watts, telling them that he had witnessed a tall white man dressed in jeans, a knit cap, and a black members-only jacket. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Exiting the Eastburn's driveway carrying a garbage bag in the early morning hours of May 10th. According to Cohn, the man drove away in a white Chevrolet Chevette. Remember those?
Yeah.
Based on Cohn's account, investigators believe that the Eastburn murders had occurred between 8 p.m. on May 9th and 3 a.m. on May 10th. Cohn's description of the suspect was passed to the local media. Cohn also helped the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation produce composite sketches. All right, following the media coverage of Eastburn killings, Hennis visited the local police station on May 15th, where he submitted to interrogation by Watson Biddle. All right, when he was questioned, this gets down to the nitty-gritty, right?
Right.
So, why is he talking to him?
Well, because he's smarter than they are.
Most of these guys want to get some publicity. Yeah. You know what I mean? They want to try to outsmart the police and all those things. What do you call that? Sociopath?
Yeah.
I know there's psychopath and sociopath.
I would say that's sociopath.
Yeah. When questioned, Hennis acknowledged that he had picked up the Eastburn's dog on May 7th, but had no other contact with Katie apart from the phone call on May 9th, discussing how Dixie was settling into the Hennis household. According to Hennis, he had driven his wife and daughter to his in-laws on the night of May 9th, returning home after refueling his car. In addition, Hennis also provided investigators with blood, saliva, and hair samples and finger and palm prints. Due to his close resemblance to the composite sketch, investigators identified Hennis as a prime suspect on the outset. Cohn identified Hennis during the photo lineup, leading Hennis' arrest that evening. So they arrested him based off circumstantial, but it goes further.
Right.
Anything so far, Juice? What do you think of this guy?
He's nuts. Mm-hmm. He's another one.
Yeah. I don't know what triggered him, though. Don't talk about it.
I don't know, but something had to have triggered him.
Yeah. When you get down into it, there's something that
there's always something that sparks it.
We talked about one where his dad died, you know, when he was in basic training, those kind of things. In addition to Cohn, Watson Biddle utilized other witnesses as evidence. Investigators determined that Katie's stolen ATM card had been used twice, on the night of May 10th and the morning of May 11th, with 2 transactions amounting to a total of $300. Investigators sought this link to Hennis being late on his monthly rent payment and his prior convictions for writing bad checks. This guy had some issues, right? In addition, female witnesses who visited the ATM shortly after the second transaction on May 11th had witnessed a blind man matching Hennis' description. Hennis' alibi that he returned home on the night of May 9th after dropping his family at the in-laws was challenged when his former girlfriend, Nancy Meeser, told investigator he had made an impromptu visit to her home, his former girlfriend. Uh-oh. Investigators also focused on the fact that Hennis had brought a black members-only jacket to the dry cleaner on May 10th, and his neighbor's eyewitness accounts alleging that Hennis had burned items within a barrel on the morning of May 11th. They didn't say anything about the fingerprints. Let's see here. During the trial, the lawyer and his team put forth the theory that Hennis had taken advantage of his wife Angela's absence to initiate a romantic relationship with the married Katie Eastburn. That's his former girlfriend. Katie rebuffed his offer. No, that's one of the girls.
Yeah.
He actually approached her and she rebuffed him, leading Hennis to kill her and two other older children. There you go. So he made a pass at one of the girls. She said, "Get out of here, creeper." And he said, "I'm going to get you." So do you think that's the trigger?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Really?
I think there's something else. It could be a trigger, but I think there's something else in his past that has gotten him to this point.
Right. Okay. In addition, the prosecution drew upon Cohn and the female's eyewitness accounts and the transactions resulting in Katie's stolen ATM card. For added psychological effect, the prosecution presented several graphic crime scene photos to the jury. Of course, it's a nasty crime scene.
Right.
Following 10 hours of deliberation, the jury found Hennis guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree rape. On July 8th, he was subsequently sentenced to death. Hennis was transferred to death row at Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina. So this is all civilian side. While in prison, Hennis received an anonymous letter claiming responsibility for the Eastburn murders. Dear Mr. Hennis, I did the crime. I murdered the Eastburns. Sorry you're doing the time. I'd be safely out of North Carolina when you read this. Thanks, Mr. X. It was postmarked on the day of the sentencing. It was sent to the sheriff's office. So he got an appeal, and the Supreme Court arguing the numerous graphic crime scenes of the videos that the prosecution had shown the jury had unduly influenced them against his client. And the North Carolina Supreme Court agreed, and he got a new trial.
Wow.
The defense challenged the prosecution's witness and evidence, focusing on star witness Cohn's criminal offenses following the first trial. They also attacked Cohn's testimony that the weather on the night of the murder was fair. By contrast, meteorologist and helicopter pilot called by the defense testified that the weather had been overcast.
Yeah, we all know how accurate meteorologists are.
So the jury acquitted him of all charges. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's insane.
Gary Eastburn relocated with his surviving daughter to the U.S. Air Force Base in London like he'd planned. He had married an English nurse in 1991 who became Jana's stepmother. After retiring from the U.S. Air Force, he worked overseas for several years before returning to the United States, settling down in Washington. Following his acquittal in 1989, Timothy Hennis re-enlisted in the United States Army and was promoted to the rank of staff sergeant.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He saw service in Iraq during Operation Desert Storm and Somalia. Hennis received several awards and accolades for his service. In 1988, Hennis and his family were now joined by their 6-year-old son, Andrew. They moved to Fort Lewis, Washington. Hennis became a scoutmaster of Andrew's scouting troop, leading them on hiking expeditions. In 2004, Hennis retired from the U.S. Army at the rank of master sergeant and found work at a waste treatment plant. What do you think?
I don't know.
This gets crazy, Juice. You ready to keep going?
Yeah.
On May 2005, 16 years after the acquittal of Hennis, Captain Larry Trotter of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office attended a detective seminar on advanced criminal intelligence techniques, which discussed the Eastburn murders as a case study. After conversing with several journalists, Scott Wisnat had covered the Eastburn murder trials. Trotter learned that detectives had extracted semen from Katie's body using a vaginal swab. Since DNA testing was still in infancy in the 1980s, investigators could not test the sample. Trotter had the semen on the swab tested in the crime lab in Raleigh. In 2006, the forensic test determined that the sample was 1.2 quadrillion times more likely to come from Hennis. Trotter shared his results with Edward Grannis, the Cumberland County District Attorney, and Robert Battle, who had just participated in the 1985 investigation. Biddle then contacted Eastburn. The Fifth Amendment's double jeopardy clause prohibits retrials after acquittals. Here we go. United States Constitution's dual sovereignty doctrine allows the defendant tried and acquitted in a state court to be retried at a federal court. Here we go. The Uniform Code of Military Justice permits military personnel tried in a civilian court to be court-martialed. At the request of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant General John R. Vines, the commanding officer of Fort Bragg, agreed to recall the retired Hennis back into service as a pretext for charging him with the Eastburn murders based on the new DNA evidence.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Everybody thinks when you retire, you're out. You're not.
So he returned to Fort Bragg, quit his job at the treatment plant. He ordered Hennis to be court-martialed on 3 counts of premeditated murder. All right. Hennis appealed the decision because the Army lacked jurisdiction, but the petition was denied. He was in the Army at the time, right?
Yeah.
Hennis court-martialed Fort Bragg on March 17, 2010, lasted for 3 weeks. For the court-martial, Hennis enlisted the services of a military lawyer, Frank Spinner, and 2 uniformed ununiformed lawyers, 2 civilians. The prosecution was represented by Army Captains Mike Scott and Nathan Huff. Colonel Patrick Parrish was the judge. All right. Had 14 military officers and non-commissioned. They don't call it a jury; they call it a panel in court-martial. Right. So here we go. Following the 3 hours of deliberation, the jury unanimously found Hennis to be guilty on April 3rd, 2010, and then he was sentenced to death. The jury recommends, and the judge says yes or no, and then the commanding officer has to approve it. A little bit different, right? So
yeah.
He's appealed a lot. Nothing's happened. The Supreme Court's denied it. You got DNA on the body. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's hard. We've had guys call us want to work on Rule 32s, but their DNA's on the body. I'm like, we're not going to waste your money and my time for that.
Waste.
Yeah. But he's like, yeah, but this and that. I'm like, no, we're not doing it. So defense attorney still invoked the North Carolina Supreme Court's 1980 Hennis ruling that limit the presentation of redundant photographs that could unduly influence jurors. What do you think of this guy?
I think they got it right the second time.
I think they got it right the first time. But
I think they had problems the first time.
Yeah, it was very, there was no smoking gun there.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't have his fingerprints at the crime scene, right?
No.
They just had some guy that said him walking around, somebody that looked like him walking around.
Right.
So, yeah, they didn't have fingerprints. What do you call it? Latent evidence, left behind evidence.
Yeah.
So, but the DNA, that'll do it. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't do that the first time. Mm-hmm. And he got to go and enjoy life and do other things and
retire.
But eventually, they got him. Well, his retirement stops once you get convicted like that. Your retirement stops.
Does he have to pay back? Though?
No, your retirement just stops.
They can't retroact and say, "Hey, we're going to convict you back to when you're a specialist or whatever." So, can't do it. Okay, all right. So his wife and kids don't get nothing.
Nope,
because he's an idiot. So,
well, I don't know. They may still get covered like under TRICARE or something but he's cooked.
Yep. We got some more, but we're running out of time here. There's 2 more. We can get them in another session.
We can do that.
What do you think of this guy? I mean, you already asked you that, but what do you think so far?
Yeah, they all have issues. It's one of those things you want to go back and figure out what caused them to have this mental, I don't even know what to say. Just this mental bend in their life that makes them do this stuff. You know what I mean?
They don't say much about what triggered him.
Child abuse, child molestation.
His dad seemed normal. He's a IBM guy,
Well,
professional.
He seemed normal too.
His dad?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. All right. I'm going to get off here, Juice. You going home?
I am.
Go home and go to sleep.
I'm going to go hang out with my dog.
All right. You got to work tomorrow or tonight?
Yeah, I'm working tonight.
All right.
I love that third shift.
You like it?
No.
Why can't you get first shift?
No, I'd rather be on third shift.
Too many bosses there, right? So.
Yeah. Second shift, too many snitches.
Huh. I feel like you're in prison.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. Talk to y'all later.